it's been a little while.
It's been a fucking age. Sorry, loyal fans.
I mean, I don't think we've done this since, I think
it was hot.
It was summer, yeah.
It was hot out.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. Do you want to
relay how shit got real for both of us? We were laughing. I was on furlough last time we did this, and I thought I'd be heading back. It was fine. I got made redundant from my job. Maddie has then shortly after got made redundant in her job, and now I am now back at a call centre. Mixed bag. I was an edit assistant before, so it's a bit weird. And you're doing your.
I'm now doing HR admin, and to be honest, I feel like I actually do feel like I'm in a better job than I was in before. So it's worked out. It has worked out well, but there was definitely a point where I think it all hit and seemed quite like the worst had happened.
Yeah, it feels rough at the moment.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I sort of am looking back, and while like I definitely think it had an impact on my mental health, and I know you were affected as well. I'm sort of like counting my blessings now that one, I actually have a job.
Yeah.
And two, that my biggest tragedy out of this thus far has been a job loss. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely, it's not it's still, that's not to undermine, like it was really, really hard. I've had it's so strange to think that last time we did this and we were like so dedicated and saying, oh, this will be something we do through lockdown, blah blah blah, and we literally did 2, and then I just think both of us.
Yeah, it's just quite hard to be like, because you think you're meant, everyone's talking about this, like you're meant to become a better person out of this. I think everyone's given up on that now. I think we're now, well, everyone's talking about the mental health pandemic now, aren't they? But yeah. Like I think you think that you're going to produce good stuff and it'll be time to do what you want to do. And also I keep thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get really fit during this.
Yeah, I think I definitely as well, like during the time when we did this. So I think, like, say it must have been May, June, probably June, July, maybe at the latest. I think I was in a really good stride where I was exercising basically every day. I had a really good routine, and then it's just impossible to keep that momentum up.
Yeah, you hit a wall when you realize, oh God, this isn't what people keep talking about 2020, and it's like, this is going to go beyond this. We've got to be ready for a bit more.
I think I keep talking about like, oh, next year is just gonna be so much better, and I think I have a bit of a thought in my head that 11:59 31st of December 2020 will be the final minute and then it will turn to go 2021. I'll be like, oh, it's all over. Then
no, the virus is dead. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely an odd, but I think I feel like I'm seeing the cross section of people feeling very aggy and stressed out working at a call center. And also I think not even that, I don't know about you, but I feel like I can hear it in daily interactions with people. Everyone's just constantly a bit anxious now, and I don't think there were people who it wasn't affecting. I don't think they were kind of keeping a bit more of a, whereas I think I went nuts at the first drop of the word of the pandemic, whereas I think some people have managed to keep it quite solid. But now I'm hearing people everyone sounds a little bit.
I agree. I think when it first happened, I freaked out, didn't like it, then got into this routine where I felt more, and now it's just, it's rubbish again. So I don't know. So what are you in? Is Brighton still in tier 1?
We're medium, so that like the amber.
Oh, so that's tier 1, isn't it? Because then tier 2's high, and then tier 3's very high. So Manchester's in tier 3.
Yeah, which took a bit, I guess, to.
It's no.
What do you think of What did you think of all this, Andy? Is it Andy Burnham?
Andy Burnham, yeah.
Yeah.
I like him. I've always quite liked Andy Burnham. So he has been. So basically, there was massive delays on us moving into tier 3 because he was very adamant on the government providing. I think it started off asking for 70 million. They said no. He said, right, 65. They said no, and then offered to. Basically, it works out to something like. I think I read something that was it's less than £8 a head, resident of Greater Manchester, which basically people, it's a lot. And then if you couple that as well with the government's now refusal to provide free school meals and stuff over like,
I can't remember who I was talking to about this, that I just find it confusing that like how like surely they knew as they voted against that they'd be seen as absolute fucking monsters. So I'm like, what were they vote almost what was the balance, what was the other thing that they voted for that meant they couldn't vote? Because I feel like you can't just be that heartless. And
you wonder, like, I think as well, and I've seen lots of, like, especially in relation to the Manchester stuff, like loads of criticisms about all the money that went into the track and trace system, which is bad. A load of money went into creating PPE, which with people who had no experience of making it, and yet the money that could be given to actually like directly save people, I don't know, it's just it's pretty I don't know, did you think, I think a part of me thought by September this would all be over.
Yeah, I just, because we were easing, I didn't think it would go backwards, but then I still favour the whole, I feel like the national lockdown for 2 weeks would have been better because everyone would have felt more in it together. Whereas I think the reason people are pushing back is because they don't want to be the place that's kind of going, I don't know, it just, you feel a bit more lonely if you're in a city that's just being fucked and everyone else seems to be okay. Although they are saying that everyone at some point will probably go into this sort of lockdown, but I don't know.
I think it's tricky, and I think as well with like in the north, like lots of people feel like London is given very different treatment, and
we didn't really need anything else to antagonise that sort of relationship. I don't think.
Exactly. So but no, it's pretty
it's not
pretty rubbish. No,
it's
which is why I'm about to do a very smooth segue here.
Yeah, swing on in.
TV. This is what we talk about. Films.
Fucking saviour.
What have we done so far? So we've our whole two. So we've done Game of Thrones and Sopranos. And so I think this week we've decided so normally we were sort of doing something where someone would recommend.
Yeah, the plan was Succession, because Maddie had recommended Succession, but it's been quite long since we've done this, so we wanted to do something that we both have great love for, even though I don't know what Kai thinks, but Mike thinks Sex and the City is a pile of dog shit. And when I watched it,
my flatmate who is male I rewatched Sex and the City. I've rewatched it during lockdown. I think it probably gets a rewatch every year from me, probably. And he would like sort of walk in while I was watching it, and he was just like, I think he was kind of like horrified at some of the things, and understandably so, which I think we're going to go into later. But yeah,
Mike loves Samantha, because who doesn't love Samantha?
I think Samantha does seem to like, because that Ben as well was saying that he like Samantha was his. I think he said he was like most attracted to Samantha as well.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't? I think she's the most fun.
Yeah. So that's why we're talking about Sex and the City. As I mean, when do you remember when you first watched it?
Well, when it first came out, we definitely would have been. We weren't even allowed to watch Friends as children. I don't think. I know. That. But like, I can't remember. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. But I ripped, like, I tore through it, because it's like it's kind of like a rom-com, but almost a sort of Judd Apatow rom-com-y feel. So like you just can endlessly watch it, and
it's got there's an, especially in the, I suppose, but that first series, and I think it's part of the second series, when they do the breaking the fourth wall, like direct to camera, it gave it that like kind of quirky feel, didn't it? I remember I first watched it so my friend Helen kept saying, you need to watch Sex and the City, and I thought, I remember, do you not remember, our elder sister had box sets of it, video on VHS. And I remember thinking, like, what's that? That must be like so, and it looks
sex?
Exactly. I was like, but yeah, then eventually watching it, and I think I was in my second year at uni, so that's what, almost, oh gosh, like 7 years ago. That's depressing. And then and thinking and just being obsessed with it. Like it's and say I think I've rewatched it like probably at least 5 times now.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember I was talking about this, and I've talked to someone else about this. For some reason, I always start from season 3 now, because I just
really
sometimes I do the whole thing, but they're like, if I just want to just watch it and have the whole like junk food, then I go from season 3 because I want to skip the initial. It sounds like I'm going to sound probably like not a good woman. All the shit was big at the beginning. I get like a switch where I'm like, Carrie, you're fucking crowding the man. Like, come on, like, which is like, just tell me I'm the one. It's like, Jesus, how long have you been going out? But yeah.
To be honest, I typically go from series 2. I don't know why. Like the first series, I don't gel with it as much as I do the other ones. I think part of it, I think part of it is me and my friend Helen, who was one who introduced to me in the first place, when we lived together. And this, do you know what's like? This makes me think how recent streaming services are, because this was when, so we lived together so it was after we'd graduated. So I think it was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we we both put money towards buying a box set of it, a DVD box set, because streaming services just, or like while they exist, they probably just weren't as prevalent as they are now. So just everyone,
like when we bought someone's like a big present we bought for someone was the whole box set of all the Saw movies. Do you remember that?
Right. So I remember, and I currently own this. I have a custody of this box set at the moment. But Helen, and I'm going to blame it on Helen, I think she lost a disc of series 1, and just the fact that I wasn't ever going to be able to watch the full one, I think that was part of the thing that made me like not want to watch series 1 and go straight to series 2. But and so it's probably just stuck a bit. I think it hits its stride a lot more from the second series.
Yeah, as it's definitely like how they, because I think that is a good thing about it, that I think people like kind of give it shit and talk about it as if it's like kind of just a rubbishy woman's thing. Mm-hmm. But it's that the characters in there, I think, are all that it's very good like character development, and you don't necessarily even like any or any of them. I can't think of a time where I've ever liked Carrie.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I find Carrie Bradshaw very irritating. Like and I almost get I think we've talked about this before. Part of my enjoyment of watching it is almost driving pleasure from how much she irritates me and how out of order she is, and being able to get so frustrated about, because she's not a good friend. She's very self-involved, etc.
Yeah.
But even so, do you not like? There are definitely times I feel really. What makes me cry, there are two, I think I messaged you, this was on my most recent rewatch. I cry at the 2 bits that make me cry, and actually this is like towards the end, so we've been through 6, and it's very, but when Carrie is on her way to the Last Supper with the girls before flying to Paris, and Big stops her and she goes, you and me, nothing.
Yeah. And because he's trying one last, and she's just going like, look, no, you do this.
And it really, that really gets it. So it's obviously been so well crafted that, like you say, she is a really annoying character, and I think this is like must be like a quite a shared opinion, like from when I discuss with people, like they don't like her, they think she's very self-involved.
But SJP doesn't like her. Sarah Jessica Parker doesn't like her.
She really tries to distance herself from saying, "Oh, I'm nothing like her," because I think she must know how she comes off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think the breakup with Aidan, I think, has done all the breakups with Aidan.
Oh,
the bit with the whole. I think with the affair when she's with it, like for anyone who hasn't seen it, she's with Aidan, and then she ends up having an affair with Big, who is married, so she's having an actual affair, adultery sort of thing. Legitimate in the eyes of the Lord. Eyes of the Lord, she has an affair, and she like, you hate her drawing, and you think, what the fuck are you doing? You're sabotaging yourself, and you kind of love it. But there's this bit, the bit where she like it's the bit where she finally comes clean to Aidan about it, because she has to, and then like he leaves her, I think it's on like Charlotte's wedding day or something. That I was like, that's actually like, oh, that's horrible.
The breakups, I think I've said this before. I think the breakups are so well done. Like there was, I'm trying to think of one that actually like makes me go like, oh, like I can actually feel the pain, like the
Harry and Charlotte when she's like, because she really wants him to just propose already, and I just can't, I can't deal with anything with Harry.
I think the breakup in the whole thing that like gets to me the most, or like but like the relationship that I find the most like jarring to like watch, or like the most like, oh, it's the Jack Berger stuff. Like it's how he treats her and his like neuroses and like his almost like just his I just think they do it in such a way that I'm like, I don't know, it really, really like, maybe it like struck a nerve, I don't know. But that's just one example of like, I think the way they do relationships is so, it's done so well. And it's a credit to I think it's a credit to like the actual writing and the like performances of the actors and stuff. But I think this is, so I guess we'll like, because obviously I think we're going to talk about how this show is like, it is problematic and a lot of it doesn't hold up, but I think it is incredibly well crafted. Like I think and
I think it was really important when I think when you think of the year that it came out, I think it's a really important show to have come out, because I don't think I think when people talk about it now, they don't realize that like there wasn't really a show about like women fucking and all like and just openly everything out to kind of like just like messy women, but not that. I don't really hate that term. I heard that used in an article actually talking about like that adult material and I Hate Susie and stuff like that, showing like messy women and how it's good. But that I do kind of agree in that it's a good thing to be shown, because you get all these flawed male characters, but you don't necessarily get main flawed female characters. Not as well shown. And yet they were all a bit, I do think there was a lot of like flaws that they were all very flawed, so it was
and just having like something, I mean, I know it like has happened, like I'm trying to think of like other women driven shows and the only thing I can think of is Golden Girls, but but like in terms of it, like it was a female driven ensemble cast, like I think, and like you say, and talking very frankly and openly and showing them like having sex and like them having casual sex and stuff like that. So it definitely had its place. And I think this is the thing, I suppose, like then I think we will talk about like things that are like so flawed in it, but there was a progressive element to it in that it was looking at that. What was it, 1998, I think?
I think it's when it started. It was
started
90s anyway, but
which is mad to think that I suppose you're sort of thinking what, like, so over 20 years ago now, but it wasn't really nothing like that, hadn't really happened before. But yeah, no, no, it is. I have such a play, like I think I will continue to like rewatch it. So who is your favorite man in the show?
I mean, it's quite hard because a lot of them are just the same level of just not, they're just a bit shit. I think it's probably Harry now.
Yeah,
because he's just so, he's one of the most normal, I think. Like I can imagine, I can see why you'd go for that guy, whereas a lot of the others are although actually there's such a little like part of me really likes Trey. Just
I was just about to say that, and I don't know if it's because of our love of Carl McLachlan.
Yeah.
But there is something about Trey. I don't think Trey's a dick.
No, I think he's damaged because his mother's like an absolute batshit bunny or whatever she's called.
But no, I think Trey very like some good, like he's very, it's weird because everything else you see of Carl McLachlan, I can never say his name, like he's not really a comedy person. Like I'm Twin Peaks, David like
Desperate Housewives is pretty good.
Oh, I never got as far as
it's pretty good. It's very similar to Sex and the City.
I think he move towards that, like following his weird, like surreal, like this, like I'm trying to think of what, like, I mean, Dale Cooper's amazing, but he's not like a
Blue
comedy
Velvet.
character. Blue Velvet.
That's not a laugh riot, that film.
No,
at all.
Blue Velvet is yeah, some him hiding in their wardrobe from.
Oh, and the Frank Hopper bits with that's horrible.
Oh yeah, that film is
so rough.
I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it would be like, is it because he doesn't, because he's with Isabella Rossellini, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Andy's with Laura Dern. That's nice bit of but anyway, but yeah. So I think it's being used to seeing those being the things, like the other things like I'm familiar with him in, and then in Sex and the City, like it's like, which is a comedy ultimately, and he does have some really like decent comedic moments in it.
Yeah, so yeah, loads of them.
Like when he offers, I really like when he offers Charlotte a handkerchief.
Oh,
after,
I was thinking of that.
I'm sorry.
He
goes, so I think it's like when they're, so obviously he's like got his impotence problems and stuff, and then like when they break up and she goes round and their sort of sex life does like start to improve, and he gets a bit too overexcited, and then he obviously has his moment prematurely, and he goes, "I'm sorry, Charlotte, can I get you a hanky?"
I thought you forgot about that bit. I thought you were going to talk about the cut out baby.
Oh yeah.
When Charlotte can't have a baby, so he gets her a cut out baby from a novelty shop, and he just keeps going, "It's a joke. It was from a joke shop. It's a novelty shop. So it's funny." And he goes, "Carrie, you're funny. You get it." And it's just
no. So I do think, and then I think the way his final moments in it are very heartwarming. So I think the one where he so Charlotte has her house and garden photo shoot, and he says he doesn't want to do it, and then he turns up because he knows it's what she wants.
All like dressed up to the nines.
Yeah, and then when Bunny's fighting for the apartment, and he sends a telegram saying that Harry reads out as well, and saying she was a wonderful wife, basically. And I think it's really, really like, and his when breaking up with her, saying I can't give you what you want, and we obviously don't want the same thing, and you deserve what you want. I don't think he's a dick like other.
Yeah, it's so sad how it plays out, and it is like rough, but you know that by the end of it, you know he's not the biggest arsehole on the. I mean, I don't know who the biggest arsehole that any of them go out with would be.
Let me have a think.
Who's your favourite?
Trey
your favourite?
No, Steve.
Steve is
Steve
good.
Brady.
Yeah, because he's constant, and he's quite. And the breakup that they have at first is not due to anything outside of. I don't know, because although I do find that weird that they're like, "Oh, I'm a high-powered lawyer and you're a bartender." It'll never work. It's just like, I think you could have tried it a bit more.
I think because he obviously is quite but the thing is, though, I don't think he's like necessarily. My interpretation of it is he's not. So one of the things that like is really horrible in our world is like toxic masculinity, obviously, and as particularly men being threatened by a woman's success and feeling like bothered, like for instance, like if anyway. So I think when Steve is bothered by it, I think it's all, I don't know, maybe I'm like making excuses for him because I do love him, and is he from Queens? I think that, like, yeah, anyway.
It's very New York.
Yeah. And he says, oh, let me buy the fucking suit because Miranda wants to get it for him. But I think it's almost done it like there's a pride thing, because I don't think he resents Miranda for it, but I think he yeah, and they obviously work it out, so it's all fine.
Great in the end.
Yeah, but no, I love Steve. I think he's really. I think he's like very kind, and I love their like seeing their relation. I like their relationship because I like as well that there's like no like Miranda doesn't really like have a type. I don't know. I just feel like I feel like I can relate to. I think if I had to, if I had to pick one to be like this person I'd most like to be with, it, I think it's Steve.
Yeah, Yeah. Whereas I think mine would be, it would be Steve or Harry, because I do think they're the normal. Although I really do like what's his name, Smith or whatever, the one that Samantha
Oh, Samantha's,
ends up
yeah.
with, just because he like absolutely worships her.
That's
And
like one,
his,
oh,
yeah.
that is so wonderful, isn't it? I adore that. I adore seeing like when Samantha like becomes more vulnerable. Like, yeah, it's brilliant. So what are your I mean, this is like such a stereotypical question, but why not? The age old, it's not age old, but
Put an age on it. I dare you.
big,
Put an
like,
age on it.
well, 2000 and something. Big or Aiden?
Oh, I mean, I'd say Aiden, just because I just prefer Aiden, and I also like, I actually think his cottage looks really nice, and I would love to go to the cottage that Carrie whines about. But I also think I could, obviously Carrie ends up with Big, because they both have the same absolutely crap sense of humor that they can only laugh at. Like literally, they say things and they just say like, "Oh, have it your way, baby," and they're both on the floor, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
just don't know. But I think Aiden. But then Aiden has he's a little bit too like, I don't know. He was all right, but they were, yeah. But I guess at the end when he was trying to force her to kind of get married, that was a bit weird.
But he clearly, like, you can sort of understand that because he obviously was like, he didn't trust her from,
Well,
like,
yeah,
because that's quite a big,
she cheated
she
on
really did a
him.
number on him, yeah.
Yeah, and then they broke up, and then she like kind of begged to get him back. That's the bit when he's on the steps and he gets like, "You broke my heart."
Yo, yeah, that's another one I'm but yeah, I think I it's terrible, because I cannot make a compelling argument for Mr. Big. Like,
I mean,
he is,
at the end, he does. It turns around. All in the last episode, it turns around, and he's like, "Oh, I've got
but
to."
he's pretty awful, like, up until that point. But then there's just something about him. Also, as well, I've started following, there's this account on Instagram called, I don't know if I'm saying it right, it's called Du Moi. And it's basically it's people like submitting like stories about, like, anecdotes about their interactions with celebrities and stuff. And there's a category called Mean to Kids, and Chris Noth, or Noth,
is he big?
who's big, is frequently mentioned on this Mean to Kids thing.
Oh no, I like it.
Apparently he's such a dick. Like, people who, if you go up to him, say people have said they've gone up to him, say hi, and he just goes like, "Not now."
That makes me kind of like, actually like, he's in this show that me and Mike have been watching on Netflix about the Unabomber, like
right.
that domestic terrorist guy in the 80s and 90s who like sent mail bombs to people. But he's like, it's Mr. Big, and he's playing this really serious, like, yeah, we got to catch the Unabomber, and it's very odd to watch.
He will. This is the thing. I don't think he can ever not be that. But yeah, so I do, like, I can't really even. It's just weird. It's that thing as well where, like, it's the nostalgia of it, and like, it does really.
Has he been rude to kids? Sorry, or just rude to people?
Apparently he's mean to kids.
But then again, if kids come up to him, is he not like, "Kid, why the fuck do you know who I am?" Like, why?
I think, like, I'm not sure, like, what, but I mean, if this is one of the things, was apparently someone said, "Oh my god, it's Chris Noth," and he went, "It's actually Noth or something." I don't know how he's. Anyway, he's. It kind of doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, it's not. I don't get surprised when anyone like. I wonder if I was famous, I'd probably end up like.
Oh, it probably would be really annoying.
I'd have been, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, people
Yeah.
taking, like, I remember like there being doing, if someone I worked with, we were talking about shit, like she was talking about other jobs she'd had in TV, and like apparently it's like an extreme. I've only ever done post-production, so I've never really been close to anyone famous, but it's like a real faux pas if you like are dealing with famous people, and then you kind of talk to them, and then you kind of end up going, oh, can I, or if I have a picture with you, because, and then like people have got fired over it and shit,
yeah, I can imagine that, actually, that people like, you've got to
be cool, you've got to act like this is. But with some people it must be so like, Because imagine if you were working with like doing a particular show and it was literally someone who you were like, oh my god, I've been wanting to like, but you just have to stay.
There must be some people as well, like there are some famous people who like everyone just knows who they are, so you've just to act like you're not. I don't know. I was just thinking like, imagine if you saw like Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I doubt he is friendly at all. Like,
I feel like he wouldn't be.
I wouldn't.
I think I don't want, like, you don't want to have that. I don't know. Yeah.
No,
I
don't meet your
heroes. Yeah, exactly.
I can't. I'm trying to think of someone else like. Yeah, like say Joe Pesci, I would be absolutely desperate. I'd be like, oh, make a photo. Pretend you're getting me whacked. Pretend you're kicking me in the stomach, Joe. Like, take a photo of it. And he'd just want you to get out of his face.
I couldn't. Joe Pesci really, really frightens me just because of Goodfellas. Like, he's just, yeah, I can't. Like, he makes me just. He's a very like nerve-wracking person. Just it's purely because of Goodfellas. I'm sure
yeah, he probably is, but it's his energy. I reckon you'd probably.
I think he's quite like small, isn't he? Small,
he's like a little,
powerful.
It's like a little Rottweiler or something. He's absolutely
definitely.
But anyway, back to chick stuff. I'm trying to think. Oh, we need to talk about what we think the most offensive episodes are now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know what my number one is, and you're probably thinking of the same one.
Oh, go on.
Samantha dates a black man, and that's the basis of an episode story, and it's so uncomfortable now.
And like
it's
so
uncomfortable.
And like so much of the reference, like there are so many references made to it, and like it's just not. It's like just such an uncomfortable watch.
Yeah, it's because she's got
I find actually, so that like definitely is up there of what it's like. I just can't, like, it's just, you almost have to like.
It's so ridiculous. It's up there with that episode of Everybody Loves Raymond where Ray's, I don't watch it very much, but Ray's brother, whoever it is friends with a black man and ends up going to a black club, and that's the whole basis of an episode, and he starts talking black.
Well, that's like, some of the like the terminology they use in that episode of Sex and the City. It's just like, like it's just not. It's just because that obviously as well was a time when when it came out, it just wasn't really, and with it being such not an undiverse show as well, it makes it even more jarring, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I actually like one that, since I don't know like if it's been on this most recent round of rewatching, and like, do you know what, actually it makes it even more. I watched I think I sort of was always aware of it, but I have recently watched a documentary on Netflix called Disclosure, which is all about how trans people are represented in film and TV and in Hollywood and stuff, and like how badly it's done, and how like it's all really, that's like there are loads of like offensive stereotypes and blah blah blah. And they actually do show a clip of an episode from an episode where Samantha's living in the meatpacking district, and there are some trans
outside her window
sex workers, and I think she uses like terms that just wouldn't fly now, and that's a bit of a like, it just doesn't. I think it just doesn't, because the problem is with stuff like this this is where like some of the like the comedy is based in it, and because it's just like so not funny, like it becomes completely pointless.
Yeah, but then with that bit, I do feel like you could probably like, I mean, there's still shock humor in a lot of shit now, like all of It's Sunny in Philadelphia is based on shock humor and stuff that you wouldn't necessarily be able to, but it's definitely to prove a point that they're all disgusting people. It's kind of like you're not meant to. But with Sex and the City, I feel like they probably at the time were kind of like they want to pride themselves and like we're like really progressive and like,
exactly. And then it being I think that was just a time as well, like the 90s, early 2000s, even up until more recently than that, just like just the way that like trans people were like shown in films. It's just like I'd strongly recommend watching this documentary, because you don't realize like just quite how
that does sound good, because it is a really well, even the whole like there's that episode about she's going out with someone who's bisexual, isn't she, Carrie? And she's really like, and she says, what's the line is something like, I always just figured bisexuality was just one stop on the way to gay town.
Yes.
Whoa.
It's just, and then when she makes and like she thinks, and this like whole slow-mo camera thing, like when she does a very, very vanilla kiss, she with Alanis Morissette when they're playing Spin the Bottle.
Yeah.
And it's like, like set, like I'm such a like sex, like all this stuff. So
I mean, after that, she says something like, "That was the last night I saw so and so." And it's like, so you fucking lied and left and said you were getting cigarettes, and you just never spoke to him again. Like that's like a minor hate crime. That is just very strange.
No, so definitely,
but she's
like
just awful.
No, I think there's like loads of I mean, there's definitely like other stuff, isn't there? But those are the ones that definitely like stand out as being particularly tone deaf now.
Yeah. Little bit jarring.
I mean, going a step further, have you seen the films?
Sex and the City films? Yes.
I
rewatched them as well with my.
During you. Oh, I did as well.
Rewatch,
actually,
yeah.
Oh, I tend to finish off with. This is the thing. I still even watch the second one. The second one is dreadful.
I rewatched it as well.
The second one is like incredible. It's like it's incredibly like I can't believe they got away with it.
It's the worst piece of shit. And it also, was it paid for by the tourist board of Abu Dhabi?
I think like there must have been some involvement, but there's also just like their. It's just like really.
Well, this ties into because we both watched before we did this that something by Darren Star's recently come out, Emily in Paris, that everyone's talking about. For some reason, it's gone a bit like viral and that everyone's talking about it. I think that's literally locked down. I think it's because no one has anything else to do, so they've watched it.
It was like Tiger King a bit, wasn't it? Do you remember how Tiger King was like, oh my god, this is
that feels like
show of coronavirus. I know.
That feels like years ago. Tiger King.
Tiger King was but at the same time I think it feels 5 minutes ago. But it was back in March, wasn't it?
You know Carol Baskin's on Dancing with the Stars?
Yes, I've seen.
Did you know that that her dead ex-husband's family ran an ad that was like looking for evidence or looking to like sue her for the missing for the disappearance of the ex-husband, and they ran it in the ad breaks in the middle of her dance in Dancing with the Stars.
Gosh.
America.
How much do you think that cost them as well, though? Like to do an ad spot during something like that must be quite expensive anyway.
It was a real fuck you. It was brilliant. Like,
have you seen the trade? Have you seen the advert?
For what?
The commercial?
No, I haven't seen the actual commercial. No, but I saw a bit of her on Dancing with the Stars. That's shocking.
Is she not very good?
She's always dressed as a cat. Like, I feel like every week they're probably like, "Oh, do you want to maybe show a little bit more of yours?" She's like, "No, I like cat again. Do the cat thing. That's what people know me for."
Yeah, I don't want to confuse. I don't want to confuse people.
Don't confuse the fans, because.
But so Emily in Paris. So I heard about it. I heard someone talk about it on the radio, and it was basically reading excerpts from like a scathing review saying how like it's taken every single like French like stereotype trope type of thing and like shoved it in as. But yeah, so my first introduction to it sounded it was like pretty negative.
My first thing was an article, kind of, I think it was a Vice thing or something, kind of going like, "Oh, Darren Star's done it again," and that he's put a sort of Midwest wide-eyed American like moron in the middle of this new area of culture, and she's just picking at it and going on like, "Oh, why is it like America?" And she's doing that in this, and that's like in Sex and the City too, when they're doing that. Picking at it. So
no, definitely.
And I did try to watch it. But
how far did you get into it? I couldn't even.
Maybe like 20 minutes in, and I might try it again because I've got time on my hands. But it just doesn't. It wasn't fun or anything.
I just don't like. I feel like. There are other. For me, I'm just thinking there's so much more interesting. Like that concept is really boring to me.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And also she's social. It's like she's got like they want her there because of her vital sort of unique American experience so that she can do their social media. And I'm just like, none of that sounds in any way like a thing that the show could be made out of. That sounds,
Yeah.
at least with Sex and the City, she was like there was something a bit more interesting. And also she smoked in Sex and the City, and for some reason I really miss seeing people actually smoke cigarettes and like it
There's
not
a
being
lot.
a big deal.
I know exactly what you mean about I think, and it goes back to the flawed thing. Her smoking, Carrie smoking wasn't ever actually necessarily attributed to like her like being glamorous and stuff, although it could be at times. Like it sort of it was a very like big, I think it was a really like good that having that as part of like her, written into her character was really interesting, because it could be because the way, then she obviously stopped smoking, and then she starts smoking again when she's back in Paris. No, I'm obsessed with the fact that she smokes. I think it's really, and I don't know if it was just like different time, but you just won't see.
No, because she like, there's a bit in that trailer what she seems upset that some of them are smoking inside. They're going like, oh god, this is
Emily
right.
Emily does when she's in Paris.
Yeah, and Emily in Paris, and she's upset about the fact that someone who flirted with her then turns out to have a girlfriend, and it shows her talking with a friend going like, well, I'm just not like that, I wouldn't do that if I didn't want it. It's like, get a fucking grip, Emily. And like,
yeah, she sounds a nightmare. I just, from watching that trailer then, it didn't do anything for me.
well, I always felt like I was happy when Girls came out, because I felt like Girls was like our Sex and the City, because they actually show people making more.
Oh, because they were, all four of them are terrible people as well, but
who make bad choices and stuff. So it just felt a little bit,
yeah,
like if that had been anyone from Girls, and if it was a girl's storyline, that whole, oh, he flirted with me but he has a girlfriend, she would have had a threesome or pegged him or something. There would have been like a little bit more of a thing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's interesting as well. So like, has Darren Star done anything like since? So Darren Star is the creator or producer of Sex and the City.
Creator, I think.
Is he the creator? Because Michael Patrick King, is that his name?
Oh yeah, maybe it was both.
I'm just gonna Google now.
I'm doing that as well. He's a writer.
So Michael Patrick King writes it. Yes, that's it. And I think Darren Star like is the creator then. But it's almost like, I don't know, like to just, I don't care to have another like like it seems.
He did do Beverly Hills 90210, which I maintain was, you know.
Darren Star did Beverly Hills 90210 with Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling.
He was a writer for some of it. I don't think he did.
Oh right.
I don't know how much he did.
But then there's just sometimes I'm just see what else he's.
But this was brought out using his, I think, very much using his name to push it, going like, oh, it's
right.
But it was also that it's the stylist, isn't it? People have lost their shit because it's the same stylist for Sex and the City as it is for this, and people are saying, oh, well, at least the outfits are really good or whatever. But
saying that, I would by no means call myself a fashionista by any stretch of the imagination. But the styling.
Don't do yourself down.
Carrie's styling, or it's the style. Actually, to be honest, like there's a lot of good styling, but I think mainly like Carrie Bradshaw is amazing. Like it's so like enjoyable it's like really, really enjoyable to watch, and like the fact that they never wear the same thing twice, I think is really. It's like it's just part of the fun of it, I think, ultimately. And just from this little insight I've had into just from watching the trailer, I'm just not as excited by it.
I mean, it's a shame that I think for almost every show now, like the game has almost been Sex and the City probably ups the fucking game, didn't it? So everyone in a something though that I've actually noticed the outfits are brilliant in, like the same Sex and the City levels of I love that outfit. If you watch I Hate Susie.
Oh really?
She like all her clothes are just, and also she's kind of a bit of a hot mess. So like having sort of little breakdowns, but whatever she's wearing,
looking fabulous,
fantastic. She's a very like an almost like velvet really, really long flared sleeve dressing gown with tassels, which sounds like awful, but if you see it, you think,
sounds like quite
I need
glorious.
that.
Actually,
Yeah.
I just think so. I'm just trying to think of some of the things that Carrie Bradshaw wore that I don't think. Is it Lily Collins plays Emily?
Yeah.
I wonder if she'd have. It's probably really unfair because I'm sure she could go it. She's a very like. I'm sure she could. But I'm just thinking. Carrie Bradshaw wears different coloured shoes.
Some of
at
us,
one point,
there are some
and
things with
but
Carrie
she pulls.
Bradshaw's things
I just
that
think that's like that you just can't resonate. Like I'm trying to think of what my favourite. One of my favourite Carrie Bradshaws is.
What one about your favourite outfits of hers?
Mm.
I mean, I do really like. I think people have. I don't know whether people. No, I think everyone generally loves it. It's like a Dolce. I don't know. I think it's Dolce and Gabbana. It's like the newspaper dress. The headline.
No, it's
it's
Valentino. I think.
Yeah.
Is it her Valentino newspaper dress? Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, it's. I think that might be the only thing that makes a repeat.
I literally would. I want that now. That I would wear that. I think everyone would wear that dress now. Like if Misguided or someone or a fast fashion site did a shitty rip-off, I would buy it.
I'm surprised. In fact, I'm going to double check because I don't think it is Valentino.
For some reason, is it Dior? I bet it's Dior.
Newspaper.
I bet you like fiver it's Dior right now.
SATC.
Oh, I'm so excited. I think it spells Dior in the little things on the chain.
Is it? Oh, it is. It's Christian Dior.
Yes, it's like CD.
No, it's so fabulous, and it makes a return. I think it's in one of the films, so it's in. So I think, oh no, it is. It's amazing. It's
really good. It's like actually a decent dress.
No, it's. I think I'm gonna try and there are some. So I really like
I think
her final when she is going for her last dinner, and then and she says, "Me and you, nothing." To
what's she wearing there?
She's it's like a kind of like chiffony, like pinky, like strapless dress that like goes like mid length with quite a full skirt. She's got and like a lovely white like jacket on top of it. Do you know what? I'm looking through this article here, and there are just so many fantastic. Like they really, it's even this, like just like little ones like this. This is when she's meets the politician.
Do you know what I like when she goes into Vogue? And she has that little like kind of grey like.
Oh yes,
it's like office wear, but it looks really, really good. It's like really chic, and she's just got her hair like cut off, so she's got short hair.
It's amazing.
I think we also need to touch upon, if we're finished with outfits for now, because I feel like we could go on for hours with the outfits. But another thing is, I can see why people see it as a bit of a joke now, because when you watch it, the overlying like the monologue on every show. And the fact that everyone ends everything with, and it's got me wondering.
I couldn't help but wonder.
I couldn't help but wonder.
I have, so you know, my friend Helen is Irish. She was born so she's from Belfast, and so she drew to my attention. She compares her romantic relationship to the Troubles in Ireland. In Northern Ireland.
Mother of God, is she dating an Irishman?
No, it's just another very tone deaf thing. She talks about the caste system. I couldn't help but wonder. Could you not, Carrie? Could you not?
Yeah, I don't know who that's the other thing. How the hell does she seems to struggle, like she seems to painstakingly is like writing, going like, I've got to meet a deadline, and it's like you seem to write like literally 5 sentences, and I don't know who reads it. And also you can buy how much shit
so many that. Like however much, so she can pay for her massive apartment. Doesn't ever cook, does she? She has Vogues in the oven.
Always out on the town.
Yeah, always out on the town. And buying her very expensive shoes at $400 a pop.
And everything's designer.
I know it does. I don't know how she finances it, but there you go. I'd also like if we can mention, I just want to include this because I know we both really enjoy this. I just want to give a little quick shout out to the Jerry Halliwell cameo.
One of the best. What's it? The one where Samantha wants to get into this very exclusive swimming pool because it's very hot in New York, very hot. And she runs into, is she playing herself?
No, she's called Phoebe. And she goes, Samantha Jones! What else can you do in this weather except get missed while you're being misted by Evian? It's
by the pool. And she does this. Like, she moves.
Samantha Jones! Honestly, it is the best cameo that's ever happened ever. I love it so much.
Do you think that was like the 20th one and the guy filming it?
It's like, please, let's just do it.
Just end it. It will not get better.
Let's just do it.
We've got a Spice Girl, that's all that matters.
No, they must have been so thrilled to have a Spice Girl.
So bad.
Oh, it's so good though. It's so, I love it.
It's brilliant. Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other like cameos there.
Oh!
Donald
Trump!
Oh, fuck, yeah. That's really weird. And also they refer to, in like the first series, don't they refer to Mr. Big. Samantha goes like, oh, he's like Donald Trump, but attractive, like because he's really rich, like everyone wants to be.
So just showing that no one could have predicted what happened.
Oh my God, I know. What's going to happen now?
You sending me the clip of Samantha saying, "This is the party to be at. Harvey Weinstein's here."
Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to stay? Harvey Weinstein is here. Everybody leave!
And everybody
leave the pie! He's going to touch you. Harvey Weinstein's here in his row.
Yeah, just they couldn't predict what was going to happen.
Different fucking times.
But to sum up, still love it. It will get a rewatch.
Oh
next
yeah,
year.
Definitely.
And I'll always love it, I think. And so do so many other people as well. I think it's that thing where, like, obviously, like, people are now, like, people are becoming, like, increasingly aware of, like, stuff that, like, I mean, like, even, like, Friends hasn't necessarily, like, aged particularly with some of, like, the jokes in there. Like, I do not remember when it, like, came back on Netflix for the first time. I think there was quite a reaction to people saying, like, just some of the jokes just haven't aged particularly well.
Although, did you know, with Friends, apparently someone told me this and I've just believed it, because why not just believe everything?
Why not? Yeah.
Fun way to live. But apparently, like, David Schwimmer has, like, always been an absolute, like, champion of, like, of women, of, like, people who are, like, underrepresented in the, like, TV industry. So he always pushed for, like, him to be dating, like, black women on the show, because he was like, the show is too white, and he always like, and like, he just, with all these storylines, he was very much like, no, we need to be a bit more, like, progressive with this. He's like, David Schwimmer, good guy.
That's interesting. I mean, that actually, going back to Sex and the City again, apparently Sarah Jessica Parker really pushed for there to be more diversity as well in Sex and the City, but obviously, like, it didn't really, diversity would be, because I think it's just unfortunate that, like, I suppose, but they were ultimately, like, both shows that were driven by, like, a white cast. But yeah, because I don't know Sex and the City really. I mean, Miranda's boyfriend.
Oh, Robert.
What's his Robert? That's it. Yeah. The doctor. So I think but yeah, I suppose. But I think, like, you'd like to think, wouldn't you, that, like, in fact they were but hopefully we're getting more. Like, there are, but I suppose, no, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, but
everything
it's noticeable now when you watch stuff in the time.
Oh yeah, you go like. Well, like, even, like, you do just what, and you just think, no, there's just the representation was better. There just really wasn't, like, representation outside of, like, white people, was there, really?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Friends.
Despite all of these things, it's still, I think, loads of people, I think, as well, with us being a generation who are, like, more aware of these things, and, like, or hopefully more aware of these things and stuff, but still, like, I think there's a nostalgic place for, like, there's such nostalgia with Sex and the City, isn't there? Like, I think
that's the main main thing that wants you to watch.
Because they are like, it's very, I find it, and it's ultimately like quite an uplifting comedy. Like it's comedy. It's isn't it?
Yeah,
like
because most of it is funny, ridiculous. Well, there's a lot of
because it is a bit ridiculous though, isn't it? Like I think Samantha's sex scenes are really good. Like I think because I think they are so. I think. Do you know what it is? And I think we've already touched on this with it being like the fact that it's showing women having sex, but like while it was showing women having like sensual sex as well, but make actually having like sex seem to be comedic, I think was a really like big thing.
Yeah, like the Samantha ones are always pretty much a funny.
So funny,
one.
like they are really funny, and I think because so often, like if you like, oh, is it Laura? You should know this with your degree. What's the name of that feminist film critic who talks about the male gaze? Laura Mulvey.
Yeah, I think so. Mulvey,
yeah. But saying like how so women having sex get punished basically. Don't so she would say so like Psycho, I think, is an example of it.
I like the Madonna Hall complex.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
So, but then with Sex and City and with Samantha, like they're not. It's not the straight away. It's turned into like having the comedy element of it makes it such a positive anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's like you don't really. I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think of another example where you like get. I mean, I'm sure. No, there have been like funny sex scenes since then, and like with women driving it. Like I'm thinking, the first scene in Bridesmaids is funny, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and it's really like jarring.
That's kind of like Samantha-esque, isn't it? In a way,
yeah.
Like it's.
There's loads more stuff like that now, which is good. I remember though I had a lecturer at uni, and she always she was like very feminist, and she always said she hated those films when it was like, oh, and then the woman falls over and it's the funniest thing ever because it's a woman falling over, and she seemed to think that it was very much like offensive that was the funny thing. But I don't know whether it was because it's meant to be like women are so poised, so if they fall over it's funny,
right?
As opposed to like
whereas I think
full on humor that male stuff gets sort of.
Whereas I think like Samantha owned those sex scenes. Like I didn't care about the man in them at all.
No.
It was
Kim Cattrall was just
she's
really
just so funny in them. Like I think and I So should we move on to I don't know, have you watched anything? I mean, I can talk about because we've been talking about this. Other things we've been watching. I suppose a bit different because we've not really like done a recommendation thing, but any like trashy stuff that like.
I think this was a while ago that I watched all of it, but I watched all of it. I literally watched Jersey Shore from start to finish, including all the Jersey Shore Family Vacation recent ones. Powered through them.
Even it's Jersey Shore from the beginning.
Yep, series 1. When they first enter, and Snooki goes, parties here. And when Angelina is in the first season.
Oh yeah.
God, hate Angelina.
Oh wow.
She's so dirty, that girl.
Does she
hamster.
Does she come back? Does she come back for the family vacation?
Yeah, because she's an absolute like fame monster. I mean, they all are, but she's so transparently just like she gets them to, like she has the most extravagant wedding, and she does it because MTV paid for all of it. Like she has like everything I can imagine.
There was a show on MTV, and I forgot what it's called, but people got each other tattooed, like gave each other terrible tattoos.
Yes, just the two of us.
Just to two of us, and I think she was on it once, and her boyfriend or fiance got a hamster tattooed on her because because of the hamster thing.
You dirty little hamster. But Mike, the situation in the later episodes, he's completely sober now, and he served his prison sentence for his tax evasion, avoidance, whatever the bad one is. But he served his prison sentence, and now he's like the most zen man. Like,
because he was a very like, we were talking about this the other day, I think, when we were talking about like, I think because I was saying how I've been watching Teen Mum or Teen Mom, Teen Mom, and saying how like, and Jersey Shore's like this as well, incredibly depressing. Like you're seeing some really, really like damaged people.
Yeah, because I think here's the situation. I think Mike's situation, he was basically he was just a massive drug addict, and they call it, one of Angelina screams at him, you're like Popeye on crack, And I reckon that wasn't like, I reckon he probably took crack. And he
Yeah.
talks about how he was literally always, whenever you saw him in Jersey, he was always on it. Like it was rarely a time that he wasn't like absolutely fucked up. And you can see, like, you know, other shows when they get drunk, but in Jersey Shore, when you watch it back now, you're like, you're all like, I don't know what you're taking, but you all look so gone. Like it's they are all like they were probably all quite sad.
Yeah, I think, well, this is the thing I was saying with watching Teen Mum. Excuse me. You're watching like there's so like really damaged people having like really difficult times. And to be honest, and I think you sort of said basically, so do you not think some of the I can like justify me watching these things more when you've seen it come around, so they've like got through it.
Yeah.
But I think it was, so I've been watching Teen Mum and it's actually like a bit harrowing.
Some of the relationships.
Yeah.
I don't know how I used to watch it and think like, because some of them are like
entertainment. Like
me and Jess literally used to watch it for hours. Like that was our spare time activity. But it's like when you watch it back, you think some of these like horrible boys, like literally abusive and
you were watching I've actually been watching Teen Mum too, but Chelsea is in the first few series is in a like emotionally abusive relationship with her child's father, and it is like,
what's like the worst thing he does?
It's very much like the way he speaks to her is so he's just so cruel to her, and you can just tell that like what it's done to her sense of self and like her self-esteem. Like and I think I was watching it, I'm super cool because I've been watching the new episodes, so they're all a lot wealthier and like have big houses and stuff.
So good now.
And Chelsea's with a really like nice man that she met like a while ago, but anyway, he's like super lovely, like the antithesis of her previous relationship with this guy called Adam. And I've honestly, so I've gone back to watching like the older series, and honestly I was watching it thinking, I don't know why I'm like so invested in her. Like I feel really like I really like root for her as a person in real life. I don't know why, but
she was a very good reality TV character, because you did get, because she was all, I don't think there was, I think she was she was just very, very, she just seemed nice. So the fact
so very sweet and was being treated so poorly. But I've been watching the old ones where she's like still obviously trying to rekindle this relationship with this very like this emotionally abusive man. And thinking your life could have been so different. Like the way it's gone is she's ended up, so she's married to this wonderful man who, and I think they have 2 children, and this man basically treats Aubrey, Chelsea's child. I never thought I'd be speaking about Teen Mum 2 in this much depth. It's the man the child she has with Adam, her husband Cole treats Aubrey like his own daughter. Like it's just, so they're this lovely like family unit, and but you just think, so she's got this, but it could have so gone so wrong for her.
You wonder whether it's actually good that they filmed it, because maybe people were
possibly
like, oh my God, have you seen it?
It's weird, but quite possibly like, but you kind of feel bad, like he's obviously a really damaged person, this Adam. But I found myself like, to be honest, last night I think I watched about like 3 or 4 episodes, like old ones, and I kept watching because I was like, I need something good and uplifting to happen, because they're all like didn't. And it's relentless. Like they're all like, it's really and I don't know if it's a similar thing with Jersey Shore.
There's a lot more like, it is just quite a lot of fun though, because I do like that they get so wrecked and all they're thinking about is getting wrecked, and I kind of think like, oh, do you not remember that, like back when especially because we can't go out, you kind of think like
there is more of there is more of a focus on the fact that they're like partying and stuff. No, I suppose like it's almost, yeah. So there are differences there.
And JWoww is just like my favourite.
Oh, JWoww's amazing.
She buys all her like clothes for clubbing. She literally goes to a sex shop for all her clothes for clubbing in like the early seasons. So I think you're absolutely stellar. Like,
yeah,
you're a brilliant human.
Because I actually, and this is sort of going back to what I was saying before, sorry, but because I think we actually did talk about it. The Sammy and Ronnie thing, I think it's weird at the time.
Rough.
When you're younger, I don't know, because I remember watching this when I was like maybe 14, 15. Was that when it first came out? I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
But on like not being like, oh, whatever. And I'm like thinking back now and I'm like, oh no, he was abusive. He was actually like quite aggressive. Like,
I mean, she also punched him in the face pretty hard at one point, but
very toxic relationship anyway.
Yeah, and he's now in another toxic relationship. In like the most recent one, some like broad who was, well, she was born in Vegas, and I always think that's probably a bit of a red flag for any human. Like, they're not going to be that balanced, but that's just me. But I don't know, just she's like, they have a baby together, but that like they were constantly in TMZ for like, he got dragged like by a moving car.
Oh my god.
By her. And apparently like he kind of claims like, oh, it was an accident, I sort of fell out the car, and then she kept driving. But it's like, what the?
Yeah.
And then they go to his house, like when they go to his house, for some of them they see that she's literally like smashed every TV with a golf club.
Yeah, very toxic. It's kind of upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a happy bunny of a man, but I mean, yeah. I think they've actually I think the law has intervened now and been like, I don't think you guys should probably get together.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea. But after he had it with Sam, you think like, oh god, are you just drive people mental?
Yeah. No, it's very sad. On that positive note, anyway.
Be rounding up on the jolly.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of anything like light-hearted like I've watched. Oh, I've been rewatching. Have you been watching Taskmaster?
Oh yes, it's so welcome to Daisy May Cooper.
Totally, it's exactly like what's needed as well at the moment. Just some like mindless. I love Taskmaster. I think
that and Bake Off. I am actually enjoying Bake Off.
Oh, I've not watched any Bake Off.
Pretty good. We're gonna try to do this a little bit more regularly, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
But we'll keep you posted. We probably should do a Succession one at some point. I wouldn't mind watching Succession again. So. Yeah,
I'm tempted to rewatch it because it's fantastic. My flatmate has since watched it since we talked about it, and he
loved it.
He really liked it. So like us talking about it made me go like, oh no, it is really, really good. I would like to watch it again. Yeah, but no, we will do it more often because it's fun to talk about telly and films and stuff. So
yeah, and it will be we'll try to do it more regularly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
On that note, see you, Twinny.
See ya.
Yo.